be showing you how to draw dragons. Now, dragons, despite them being big and difficult creatures, can actually be quite simple. All you have to do is break them down into some basic shapes. So, typically, dragons, or at least European ones, since there's Chinese ones, and there's also a Greek dragon which has tons of heads. I'll put a picture on that. But yeah, so there's loads of types of dragons. So typically dragons can be broken down into very simple shapes, for at least most of the head and the body. So usually the head is a circle, a bit of a triangle, with a bit of a trapezoid thing. I don't know, I'm not good with shapes. So yeah, that's typically what the head looks like. As for the neck, it can be broken down into a rectangle. Super simple. Now the body is just a big oval, nice and easy. So yeah, they have a bit of an oval shape. And then for the legs, it's even more ovals. Just, yeah. So some of the dragon's feet tend to get a little bit thinner at the bottom, and then a bit thicker when you actually get into the feet. Like it's a bit silly looking, but yeah, so you just kind of do that for all the feet. Now obviously this pose isn't the best, and if you make a mistake, all you have to do is rub it out. Now, I know this isn't the best dragon pose, it looks kind of silly, but we can easily fix that. As for the tail, I'm just going to kind of draw another rectangle, and then just kind of progressively thinner rectangles, and the triangle at the top for its pointed tip. Now the wings, they're typically the hardest part, or at least in my opinion they are. So for the wings, we're gonna kind of do a big curve, and then we're gonna come down, we're gonna tap it off there, and then for the other side we're gonna do it but the other way. This is what the basic shapes of dragon. Oh wait, I've got horns. So for the horns, you're just going to kind of do triangles, but there's many different types of horns which you can draw. I'll get into that later. So yeah, that is what a basic dragon shape is. Oh crap, I forgot my pencils. Now, let's put adding detail to the dragon, or wanting to change something. Say for example the crappy pose I drew. You would have to just sort of rub it out. Simple. Now, as for dynamic dragon poses go, there's tons of good references on Google. So yeah, I'm just gonna erase that. And then you can kind of just do whatever. Since basically these ovals and stuff are kind of like the joints, so where the oval ends and where this one starts is where it would bend. So, yeah, so like where each shape starts, that bit can bend, which acts as a joint. See, ever so slightly better. Now, if you want to actually add some detail to the dragon, it's very easy. So, like, say for example, the wings. You would kind of like erase bits of it, and so you can start doing what's called refinement. So like you kind of go along and just really like add the shaping. Like wings for me are still quite difficult, but you know, it's still possible for me to draw them. So yeah, you just kind of draw a bit of a wing shape, and then you come down. I'm not actually sure what this part of the dragon wing is called. I'm gonna call it the spine of the wing. So, as you can see, I'm just currently refining the wings a bit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is what's called a wing spine. I'm not sure though, I'm not professional on this. And then you just kind of do the same for the other wing. But yeah, this is just sort of all the basic shapes. Oh, right. As for the spine of the wing, usually, it's like a little bit which kind of like connects to here and things. And it's where like the thinner part of the wing usually starts. Usually, anyway. Or something like that. As you can see, I'm going to do the same thing for this bit. This spine. Usually it's better to draw the actual spine first, than this little thin bit. But yeah, so there's the wings. Now, as for detailing the tail, very simple. You just kind of let's go over it, and then you erase these because these are like guidelines. And voila, dragon tail. So you can add some little lines, some details, maybe even some wrinkles. Like usually dragons' underbellies are kind of wrinkly and they have no scales. So I'll get onto how to draw the scales later. So yeah, for the legs, you just kind of refine those. Very simple. Feet, typically, you can do however many toes you want, but there's usually just like a toe or two. I'm going to do 3 toes because it's easier, with like a big claw. Also, if you draw a dragon, basically, so there's some dragons that aren't actually dragons. So if it has big wings and only 2 feet, it would actually be considered a wyvern, which is like a dragon, but it's not a dragon. Very confusing, but yeah. So I'm just kind of detailing these. I might do a video on how to do dynamic poses, but I'm not super good at those. Now, for the neck, it's, again, refining. It's usually a bit more curved and things. You don't actually fully follow the rectangle, just a bit more curved. You can erase some of the guidelines and things, or like the basic shapes, because then you'll be left with the actual dragon. Like this. Usually it's like just a little bit of the stuff on the tail peeking through in the neck. Or at least when it's from this perspective. Now the horns are very easy, just kind of like that. They usually have like a little bit which they stick out from, which kind of comes up, it's like a bit of a hole. And then do little curved lines to show that it's kind of 3-dimensional. Now for the face, to make it nice and simple, usually they have this kind of like eye cavity, where it kind of like dips a bit, and it goes more into the face, like this. So usually for dragon eyes, they look a little bit like human eyes, but they're not human eyes. They usually look a little something like that. Hang on a minute, I'll zoom in. So yeah, they usually look something like that. And then you just kind of shade in to show that it's a bit deeper in the face. Like that. And then for the pupil, you can just kind of add like a little bit of a line. Like that. Maybe add some wrinkles, so add a lot more detail. Now, the nose, sorry if you hear background noise, that's just my dog. The nose, It's more like a nostril, really. And you have like a little wrinkle. It's a bit like the horns with the whole kind of whole thing. You can refine a bit more. Sorry, my dog is currently waltzing into my room while I'm in the middle of doing stuff. So you can erase more of the guidelines. Usually when I draw dragon mounts, I usually try and keep them as simple as possible. So they're just a bit of a line. And then a tooth. Very simple. So yeah, that's basically what a very simple dragon would look like. But there's a lot more things you can get into detail with, such as the head, because dragons can have several different head shapes, and also very different types of horns and just all sorts. But I think for now, as a way to detail it, I'm going to show you how to do the scales. So for the scales, there's a variety of ways you can do them. There's a very simple method, which usually consists of doing ovals. So you draw a few ovals for like the first layer, and you kind of go like, if you've ever drawn bricks before, which is kind of like this kind of pattern. So it's like two, and there's one underneath. So it's a bit like that, but with ovals. And it's kind of like a way to almost make it look layered, in effect. If you really want to make it look layered, you can add some shadows where the scales would be going over top. You can also add some cracks in, that also makes it quite detailed. Let's see what else I like to draw scales. For now, there's a kind of the only way I know how to draw scales. If you have any other good ideas on how to draw scales, then, do them. Now, as for the eyes, there's loads of different eye shapes, pupil shapes. You can do pretty much whatever you want, really, since art, well, it's what every artist wants to draw, really. They can draw anything they want. But, a great power comes great responsibility, so be careful. Now, usually, for typical dragon eyes, they have a bit of like an almond shape kind of thing with some pupils. And the pupils can vary, so they can be a little diamond shape, how I tend to do them, and I'll just kind of shade that in there. Or, hang on, just kind of just refine that a bit. Or, there's many different pupils, so you can do just like a slit. You could also do a bit of a zigzaggy pupil. I'll show you how each of these look in an eye. You can see that better. So in an eye, a zigzag pupil looks something like this. Which you can potentially do if you're drawing an electric dragon, because you could do shadow dragons, you could do light dragons, you can make a dragon out of pretty much anything, really. Yeah, there's just a few examples. As for the, hang on, what am I doing now? As for the horn shapes, those can vary. I'll show you how to detail those. So, if you're drawing a more close-up dragon as opposed to the dragon that I just drew, now typically in like European-style dragons, or most dragons even, the horns look a bit like this, which are perfectly fine as is. But a little fun way to detail them is to make them look a little bit unnatural. So, what I mean by this is you add kind of like lumps and bumps in the horn, maybe even some cracks, make them look a little more worn out and realistic. And usually when you've added those bumps shapes, then you can go ahead and add some curves. Usually the curves and horns are there to make it look more three-dimensional. Now, I know this doesn't look the most 3D, but yeah. Then you can add a bit of shading. That's, yeah, one of the ways you can detail a horn, make it look better. Another way to do a horn is like a goat's horn. So it kind of goes in a bit of a spiral. So you draw a bit of a spiral, and then you need to go over it, add some details, maybe a crack or two. You can also draw broken horns, I'll show you those in a minute. And just on the curves. Yeah, that's how you do those. That's how you draw those kinds of horns. And they add a bit of a curve and kind of indications of where the horn comes from. So for drawing broken horns, those are very easy. Kind of easier. So like, this is what I tend to do. If I don't feel like drawing the same horn again, I just make it broken. So you kind of do the same thing as this horn here, only draw a bit of an oval, and then you just kind of shade it, add a few cracks and things to the horn, edge curves, and voila, that's how you make a broken horn. Now, this is something you can do for pretty much anything, but if you want to actually do a dragon pose, it's very easy. So you kind of just draw the head of it, so it's a bit like a skeleton for your dragon, or whatever animal you draw. Sorry, I'm just going to draw some pretty crap horns, but so you just kind of get the rough feel of the drawing. So like, the curves up, they go up, and then you can add some lines for the, you add some circles for the joints, just to ends and ends. And then you'd add a line for the tail. Like a skeleton, so you can probably make some pretty dynamic poses. Oh right, the wing skeleton thing, very easy, just make add some detail to it. That's what you tend to do for the skeleton of the dragon, and then obviously you've got all the basic shapes like the rectangle, the oval. You can actually break down the oval more if you wanted to. Break it down into a circle and oval. Just depends on what shape you see in typical dragon drawings. And then you have the rectangles and triangle. Now you can make dragons look as sketchy as you'd like. Typically when you're drawing poses, I'd recommend drawing them quite rough. They're called gesture poses, so they're not meant to be super good, they're just meant to get the actual like feel of the drawing, like the actual pose and posture, and then you can go ahead and add more detail. Yeah, that's how you do some posing and stuff. I'm gonna go on to show you how to draw the wings. As for dragon wings, they can also come in quite a variety of shapes and or sizes. The typical dragon wing looks a little something like this. They still not quite the best at drawing dragon wings, to be honest. They're a little bit hard, but once you actually understand them and things, they're a bit easier. So this is typically what a dragon wing looks like. But there are many different ways of drawing them. Like, you can do one that goes up and down. You can draw one that goes like that, so it looks like the spine. And then you add in the thinner bit. I'm not actually know what it's called, to be honest. Yeah, that's one way of doing it. You can add some little spikes if you like. Make it look all better. Alright, so the final thing I'm going to show you before drawing a dragon head in time lapse is how to actually draw dragon heads. So as we established before, basic head shape looks something like this. But you might want to draw said head in a different perspective. So this is where this bit comes in. So when you want to do it from a 3/4 perspective, go down and kind of do it a bit like this. So you draw this line to show that it is 3-dimensional, and then you obviously connect this to there. For the nostrils, you want to just kind of do your basic nostrils, maybe add some smoke. The eyes, you would draw on both sides, but you would do this bit smaller, because typically with perspective, if something's closer up, it would be much bigger, but if something's further away, then it would be a lot smaller. I might do a tutorial on how to do some things in perspective, but not all things though, because I'm not too good at perspective yet. But yeah, so you would draw the eyes in, and then you would add the shading. You can actually do a bunch with different dragon heads, like you can make the shape a lot different. Like, say for example, just quickly drawing the eyes, you could add some spikes on top, going across. And then for the horns, you could add maybe like a broken one that we saw earlier. Not gonna lie, this dragon does look a little bit deranged, but that's okay. And then just a simple mouth, because I'm not a big fan of drawing mouths in all honesty. They're kind of boring, unless you're going to draw an open mouth, which I'll show you how to draw later. And so yeah, that's how to do it from 3/4 perspective. Now for front perspective, you might want to make this bit a bit longer, by the way. Anyways, from front perspective, you would kind of draw like a little bit of the box, basically to show where this bit, which I'm going to call the snout, ends. So you just kind of connect that to the head, and then you can add some guidelines in. I should probably use guidelines still, but if you feel confident without using them, you can just place the eyes straight away, then that's up to you. But yeah, so this is how you do it from the front perspective. So obviously draw in your eyes again. You can also leave dragon eyes without any pupils, and that can also look quite good, depending on what kind of dragon you're drawing. Add some spikes going off again. And then we're gonna add in the nostrils. Now, for this snout bit, can kind of refine it a bit, make it look a little more detailed, then erase the guidelines, of course. As for the mouth, it kind of pull this out a bit. You could do a closed draw like I'm going to do. You just sort of draw a little bit under it, make out the teeth. I'm going to keep going with the spikes a bit. And then for the horn, I'm going to draw 2 normal horns. Very simple quick ones just to show you. But yeah, let's say do them from the front perspective. Yeah, that's just like the angles. I'm not entirely sure how to do one from like an above perspective yet, but when I learn to, I'll show you. So yeah, that's how you draw dragon heads. Now I'm going to show you time lapse of me drawing an actual very detailed dragon head. I just remembered I told you I was going to show you how to draw a dragon with an open mouth. So, yeah, let's do that now. Because you might want to learn how to do that. Yeah, you might be drawing a fight in the time. So, I would recommend that you split it up into some pieces. So this is going to be from the side view. So you draw your simple head at the neck, and then you would kind of do something like those a bit like this. You draw a lower jaw. Try to make sure it lines up so that it doesn't look any wonky. So that it doesn't look wonky. Making yeah, that's from the side profile, that's how you do an open dragon mouth. Now, the inside of the mouth can look however you want. Typically, dragons tend to have very pointy teeth. So if you want to do it very detailed, then I would recommend adding some gums. So, I like a bit of a gum shape. If you want to make it even more detailed, or realistic even, you can go ahead and add a bit of a curved line and show the entire bottom row of teeth. Now I'm just kind of very quickly drawing the teeth. As you can see, so I can get on and stuff. But yeah, that's how you do an open dragon mouth. If you want to make it look a bit better, you can add some wrinkles, maybe around the mouth and things. And obviously sketching, I might do a tutorial on how to draw a very detailed dragon eye actually in a bit. If you want, when I do draw the dragon heads, I'll show you, I might do a tutorial on that, if the video gets enough likes. If the video gets like 10 likes, then I'll teach you how to draw a detailed dragon head, the one that I'm going to draw soon. But yeah, so, behind them. This one has very short, stubby horns, apparently. Yeah. So yeah, this is what I mean. Dragons can look very different. See how this one looks a bit more stubby, and then there's this one without any pupils, this one with a broken horn. So yeah, you can do all sorts. But now I'm going to draw a realistic dragon head.